YouTubers. Here's a quick update on both the winch and my sandblasting cabinet. So this video I'm going to focus a little bit more on a change I need to make on the sandblasting cabinet. As you remember before, I used the Harbor Freight system, and I had it elevated like so, and kind of gravity fed sandblasting gun that came with it. The problem was I could not get it to feed correctly. I checked my dryer and everything, and I couldn't get it to feed correctly. So I upped the air pressure. I ran it first. I ran this at about 50 psi, and I could run it until the hose emptied, basically. But I'm doing this winch, and I'm stripping the powder coat off, and it's pretty stubborn, so I needed to increase the pressure, and so I tried running at 90 psi. No issues feeding. I'll show you a modification I made to that. But my evacuation or filtration system clearly doesn't work. So we're going to change that today, and I'll show you what my plan is. Alright, so here's the plan. I'm going to use my shop vac as the suction. You know, it's really hard to see in the cabinet with all the floating dust. So here's what I plan to do. Let me take you over to the cabinet. So this was my exhaust initially, but this doesn't fit very well. And I don't want all of the media to get sucked in. I just want the big dust, or just the dust, to get sucked out. So this is a 2.5 inch, I think, elbow. Fits in here. It's not designed to fit like that, but I think this will work great, like so. Then I have a coupling. I did end up buying this. I had this. This was, I think, $6 at Home Depot. I'm gonna keep this on like so, and then the 2-inch portion of the coupling will fit perfectly on here. So I'll have this like so, and then whenever I'm finished, I'll just undo the hose. The other thing, this is a floor drain that I had from a bathroom remodel some time ago. I'm going to put this here. I think I'm just going to screw it in or glue it in or use some double stick tape or something. And I'm going to continue to use this filter media in here, like so, somehow. Just to keep some of the finer particles or the actual blasting media out of the vacuum. So let me put some of this together, and I'll come back and show you what I mean. Okay, so I screwed this floor flange, or this floor drain, and just with 2 screws. There's one here, one on the other side, and I cut it a little bit. I beveled the angle because, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking this, but I'm going to use this as a cover, and when there's a vacuum applied, I don't want it to close all the way. So this way, at least I've got some an air gap here. Okay, so next I'm going to put the filters in here. I think I'm just going to stuff them in here. I don't think I'm going to attach them in any way. And then I will work on this side. Of course, I can't find my PVC glue when I need it, so I'm just going to use some CA to glue this on. And then I think I am going to run just a piece of tape, because the CA is probably not going to seal very well, but that's okay. And I thought about this way or this way. I'm going to run it this way because my shop vac is on this side of the workbench. I'm going to make this half the workbench the dirty space, and this side here, the clean space, well, dust free anyway, freer. So let me glue this in, and then I'll start working on the hose. I don't know if I'm going to need to add an extra vent so that there's an air passage. My lid here is probably going to be enough. There might be enough of an air leak. I'm not really sure. But I'll try it out first, and if I need to add a hole, I think that'll be that'll be easy. Okay, so let me tape this up, put this on, and then we'll continue. Okay, so here's where we are. That is attached to the floor flange. Ugly tape job, a little bit of glue, and a screw to hold it from rotating. This thing is screwed in, and there's filter media in that flange, and then we do this like so. Nice fit, and it's an easy off when I decide that I'm done with the cabinet. So that should work. I'll bring you back. Actually, there's one more thing that I needed to address. So the feeding of the media. Here's what I ended up doing that resolved it temporarily, but I'm going to do a little better job. So basically, I stopped using that bin and ended up just sticking the hose. I cut the hose at an angle, and I would just stick it into the bag or box of sand. I've been using this stuff from Harbor Freight, and so I would just stick the hose in there. I think I can do a little bit better. I had a piece of PVC. I'm just going to stick it in there and get the hose attached to this so that I can push this all the way down. I did also buy some additional media from Northern Tool that I have some local. It's coal slag, so I'm going to try that next. The 70 grit media here, the aluminum oxide, it was not cutting very quickly or very well. I think it's maybe too fine, or maybe I wasn't running at high enough pressure, but it was really having a hard time with this powder coat, along with some of the rust pieces or rusty sections. As you can see, still plenty to do. So I'm going to give that a go, and I'll bring you back and show you the process. Alright, so the cabinet's all cleaned up. I just taped this. The 1/2 inch PVC fits right over the hose, so that should be good enough. But I do want to try out the suction, and just to see how much flow I'm going to have, if I'm going to need to remove some of the filter media or whatever. So hook that up. I'm going to turn the vacuum on just to see what happens here. Okay. Well, I guess we'll see. There's definitely airflow here, which is good. This does tend to get sucked back onto it. I'm glad I cut that bevel. Maybe I'll keep it like this a little bit just to get a little more airspace. So the next step is really to try it out, and I'll bring you back. Well, guys, I decided to run my compressor and my shop vac at the same time, and after about 45 seconds I tripped my 15 amp breaker. So I'm still going to use the system, but I think I'm going to have to get a smaller shop vac with lower draw, and I'll still hook it up to this. I might need a different coupling. That sucks, but okay. Anyway, I'll bring you back. Hey guys, so I'm back. It's a couple of days later. I went out and bought this little tiny shop vac at Lowe's for $29. This little guy has a bag attachment inside along with a filter, but I'm going to use the bag. And I tried it with my air compressor, and it's low enough amperage that it works along with the compressor at the same time. Even at maximum, you know, if I was to plug the end of it, it still works. So now I'm in the process of trying to hook up this 1.25" to that. I'm still going to use this. I have a little coupling. I think it's 1.5 inches. It's a 1-inch piece. And so let me show you. Let me set this up and show you what I'm doing. Okay, so in order for this to get connected to the hose, right? I could do it like this, but it's sloppy. I want to be able to just take the hose out if I need to vacuum something. I don't want to deal with putting tape on here. I know. It's so this doesn't quite fit fully, so I have a step bit, and if I can get it to maybe, what is that, 1.25 inches without, well, that's right now it's 1 7/30. I don't know if you can see that. 1 7/30. And from there I might just have to just kind of use the Dremel with this bit on it and grind down a little bit. I'm already kind of getting pretty small on the wall here, but basically I want to get it to this second step, so like that. So I need to take off a little bit more on the inside and then do the same thing on the other side, so that the hose end can just slip on here. Okay, so I'm going to continue. Let's see, how far am I on this? I don't think I can go any further. I can't go any further, so I'm going to go on the other side and try not to cut my hand off. Okay, so at least now I know how far I need to go. Let's see if I can get a little bit. Yeah, the rest I think I'm going to have to Dremel. So let me bring it back when I'm done with all the grinding. Well, it's close, but this side I can kind of force fit on here, which is okay. But on the hose end, this is plastic, the other one is rubber, and so this is just not going to go. So I'm going to try to heat it up a little bit. I've never done this before. I'll bring you back after it's all heated up, and then we'll see how it all shakes out. Yeah, gloves certainly would have been a better idea. All right, so that works down there. That's good. Now, this part, I just want to expand this a little bit more. So I don't really care about this. I've never used it, and it's perfectly fine sitting on here permanently. that's that. Now I'll heat this part up and jam it home. Okay, let's put this thing together. So this goes in here like that. Coupling is on. I did put a piece of tape on here just to hold it, just to make sure, but it is pretty solid. That's going to stay on here permanently. And then the shop vac hose goes over here like that. Hold on. What was I saying? Ah, yes. I had this flipped around the wrong way. So this is taped on here, and I tried it out, so I'm cheating a little bit, but the suction of the vacuum is strong enough to keep this in place when it's on. Okay, so that takes care of the suction, but it still doesn't work like it should when I'm spraying in here. There's no airflow. There's not enough of an airflow. The vacuum still has a lot more CFM than the input air. So I put a little vent here. Again, these are just fittings that I had. It's just a 1/2 inch coupling, and I can close it off if I need to. So I'm going to set this up and try it out, and hopefully I'll set you up here. Normally this would all be cloudy, but let's see if it's any better. Okay, I'm not going to turn the compressor on, but the pressure is set to 85 psi. I'll come back, I'll turn the vacuum on, I'm going to open up the vent a little bit, and hopefully you guys can see. It's as good as it's going to get. Hopefully we'll have a clear view and little dust, so I'll bring you right back. Well, that worked better than I thought, because I made a critical mistake and it still worked. I didn't clip these closed, but the vacuum did a good enough job to suck the lid down even with the vent open. So stupid on my part, but not a lot of dust escaped. There certainly wasn't this giant fog of dust, and as you could tell, it was a lot easier to see. So that's great. I'm still using the aluminum oxide. I'm going to switch to some coal slag because, like I said, this powder coat on the worn stuff is really heavy, and there's quite a bit of corrosion. So I'm going to get going on that, but I think in terms of the update for the sandblasting cabinet, I would say mission accomplished. Talk to you soon.